whilst all this was happening, I also fell into a deep addiction with porn. It was the deepest that it had gone, and stumbled across webcam chat rooms was something that was completely new to me at the time. And instead of simply watching porn videos and watching people perform, I was then the performer in this webcam chat room, which was something that again gave me an incredible sense of validation, attention, and all of this coming under the umbrella of a love that I couldn't find within myself.
Yeah.
This podcast is part of the GK Media Studios Creators Network, helping people tell their stories. Become a storyteller today and learn about our podcaster network at gkmediastudios.com.
Welcome to Psychology with a Sparkle, the podcast. This is episode 9, and I'm your host, Dr. Denise O'Dwyer, and I'm delighted today to be joined by Gavin Meenan. Gavin is an exclusive men's health coach. He was awarded Men's Empowerment Coach of the Year in 2024 and 2025. He's a former European Powerlifting Champion. Gavin is the author of 2 best-selling books. He's the founder of Modern Warrior Weekends Retreats, which I'm looking forward to chatting to you about, Gavin. You're also a coach in your local community in Sligo, Gavin, as well as an international personal trainer and empowerment coach to men across the world. And you're also wife to Vilma and dad to Mason and Ariana. So welcome to the podcast. Bit of a mouthful.
Yeah, that's pretty much it there now.
Welcome to the podcast, Gavin. Delighted to have you here.
It's an honour, and thank you so much for inviting me into this
great
incredible space with your incredible self. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's lovely. Great to have you here. So Gavin, as I was saying to you before we started, I've kind of been doing a bit of research on you, and my gosh, you've had quite a history yourself, which you're very open about in sharing, and which, 100% I think probably makes you the incredible coach that you are today. Can you chat a little bit about kind of your former life and what led you to this line of work?
We could cover a whole episode with that alone. I go back to perhaps where this part of the journey began, and it was most likely, I'd say, linked to the period in which I lost my job shortly after Ariana was born. And without knowing it at the time, but now realizing the attachment that I had to this external source of power for me to feel as though I was valued and good enough as a person, as a man in today's society. Because when I lost my job, I felt like I lost everything.
So what had you been working at, Gavin?
So I was working as an assistant manager for Elvery Sports.
Okay.
Something I fell into.
Yeah.
Because I came out of college in 2008 into the middle of recession in Ireland. Struggled to find a job in the industry of health and fitness. And this came up, and it was
related.
More or less, let's take this. It's a sports shop.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. There's some kind of sports involved.
Connection.
So,
yeah.
But it's also, I enjoyed working with people. So I thought, okay, there's something here I could work with.
Yeah.
So I was with them for 2.5 years, and then there was redundancies that I had to make in the company. And 2 months after Ariana was born, I was called into the office and told, you've got to go. And obviously a very disappointing and soul-crushing experience at the time. And a sense of urgency and panic then to get the next job, and where am I going to get money now?
Sure.
And taking this very aggressive approach to finding the next source of power ultimately, because I felt powerless as a man if I didn't have a job that would value me as a person.
Give you some identity to some,
Identity, of course. So I did get another job maybe a month or 6 weeks afterwards, and I was a manager for lifestyle sports. I was with them for a few months, but then a few things happened along the way, and I was fired from that job.
Okay.
And found myself back in square one again.
Yeah.
And probably for the best part of a year, I was a stay-at-home dad whilst working hours here and there in security, in a few retail shops in Sligo, just making ends meet, not really knowing where I'm going or what's happening here, and providing that support for Ariana, who was at home with me at the time, and Vilma being out working.
Yeah.
So it was, I would say, the most difficult period of my life that year, because, as I mentioned, I had nothing in my life to validate me as a man, such as you go to work and you earn the money, and this gives us a sense of value as a man. And I've been working since I was 12, 13 years of age, and I'm also witnessing the hardest working man that I know, my father, and the value and the pride he takes from his work. And also seeing that he doesn't really have anything else outside of work. Work seems to be where he channels his time and his energy, and taking so much pride from that. So, of course, unconsciously, subconsciously, we follow our father's footsteps, and we develop the same type of ideas and forms of identity and values. So me being jobless made me feel as though, okay, this is it. I'm devalued as a man. I'm no use to society whatsoever. Whilst on the flip side, creating this incredible bond and connection with Ariana at the time, because we spent so much time together. But I had completely lost connection with myself during that period, and I wrote about it in a book that is yet to be published. But as I was writing about this chapter in my life, I realized that I actually did slip into a level of depression in that year, and kept all this secret, and a sense of shame around the inadequacies that I felt, a sense of shame around struggling, putting on this facade that, oh yeah, I'm working in security and I'm still making money, and I'm even working in security gave me a sense of security within myself. So again, using this as validation, and being this tough guy at the pub door to say, I'm still good enough, I'm still strong enough. So whilst all this was happening, I also fell into a deep addiction with porn. It was the deepest that it had gone, and stumbled across webcam chat rooms was something that was completely new to me at the time. And instead of simply watching porn videos and watching people perform, I was then the performer in this webcam chat room, which was something that, again, gave me an incredible sense of validation, attention, and all of this coming under the umbrella of a love that I couldn't find within myself. So went back to college, study social care, but whilst I was doing all that, I had a moment where I spoke to myself, perhaps a bit of an awakening, in the sense of, all right, man, what are you doing? You're just floating through life. You're being led and pushed and pulled by other people, by your parents, by Vilma. What is that you want to do? Realizing that I can't find a job, so let's maybe create something. And it's, again, subconsciously me waiting for someone to give me the answers, instead of realizing that, no, you're the only one that knows.
You can provide the answer for yourself.
So in that moment, I took a bit of reflection, and I asked myself, okay, what are you good at, and what do you enjoy? So I realized that I had a personal training degree, all the qualifications, and I loved working with people and helping people improve their lives in certain ways. So I thought, okay, start a personal training business. So that was the beginning of this.
Fantastic.
That was the start of the journey, which started off with one-to-one personal training, which grew into a thriving business. And
was it always with men, Gavin? Because I know you work exclusively with men. So did you start out initially, or was it kind of a more broad base?
No, it wasn't only men. It was men and women. And my attention only shifted to men whenever I again had an experience where, as I mentioned, the webcam chat rooms, and I was probably 4 years into that business as a personal trainer, online coaching, working with men and women.
Yeah.
Had built up a solid reputation in the community and was doing really well business-wise. And then all of a sudden, the past crept up and crushed me again, because there was footage of me in the webcam chat room leaked on a porn site, which then was going viral around my community, and the very people that I was serving now started to see this other side of me, started to witness the exposure of my shadow, the exposure of my vulnerabilities, the exposure of this porn addiction. And of course, with that comes many different rumors, and for me, of course, very difficult feelings and emotions, humiliation, embarrassment.
Shame.
Felt as though shame, massive shame. I felt as though my whole world had ended, and to an extent it did. There was a part of that world that had to end, and it had to take that experience for me to wake up to the realization of the pain and the shame that I was still carrying with me into life, because that was 2 years after I started to make some improvements and started to go to therapy, but the porn was still there. It was still there. Moments when I was alone, there would be this overwhelming sense of fear or anxiety unconsciously. And before I know it, I'm stumbling onto a webcam chat room, or I'm stumbling onto these porn sites just to receive this level of comfort that I didn't feel safe in myself, couldn't trust myself. And what that required, this level of comfort that porn would have given me. And so that was the moment when I started to shift it towards men, because I realized that I'm not the only one struggling with porn or porn addiction or addictions of any source. I'm also not the only one that's
it's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And not the only one that's consumed by such a level of shame that's then initiating these type of behaviors and actions. So,
and the consequential problems that it causes.
Of course, massive.
The offshoots of becoming addicted to porn.
Which, of course, I witnessed in the unfolding of all that. I mean, relationships shatter. And because a lot of us, and for me, we keep this stuff secret, it's not known by our spouse or by our partner or by the people in our life. And then all of a sudden it comes out and they see you in a different light. And
which leads me actually to my next question, Gavin. Like, how big of an impact did that have on your marriage? And on you as even, you spoke about identity, but your identity as a dad, how did that affect you? But also, how did it affect your relationship with your wife?
The relationship ended at that point, yet still continued.
Okay.
And she was sucked into this. She was sucked into that world, to this. She was sucked into the shadows of the shame that I felt, and she was also exposed through this experience, and it destroyed her. And then the realization that it's my actions that have caused the severe pain in her now as well. It's my actions that have caused her to cause this heartbreak, cause this hurt, cause this pain within her as well. And that was a very, very difficult period. And
is it difficult for you to be accountable for that?
yes, because to be accountable means I've got to take
Own your
responsibility
stuff.
and
Yeah.
own this, and also hold her in whatever she's going through. And for a long time, I ignored that, because what I did when all this happened was I started to shift my attention to the work, to the men. And I said, okay, I'm going to use this now as my purpose, as my mission going forward. But even within that there's a problem, because it's me. And I was able to channel a lot of my energy and focus and attention on this new purpose in my life, which had come from an incredible pain in my life.
Yeah.
But by doing that, I had no time or energy for her, or to repair this marriage, or to give her space to heal and to help her figure out what just happened in this moment, in this experience. And work became unconsciously, subconsciously again, not that I consciously went out to do this, but work became another escapism for me to run away from the difficulties in the marriage.
Sure.
And been doing that for a number of years before I finally realized, hang on a second, I'm making all this about me. It's the same shit, just it's got a new outlet.
Sure.
Because the porn and whatever else, drinking, addictions, it's a me attitude. It's I'm going to do this to make me feel good, make me feel better, make me feel strong, make me feel loved and feel wanted.
Yeah.
And you get completely sucked in by this narcissistic attitude. And
that's why I was asking you specifically about the accountability side, because that is oftentimes the part that people find really difficult when they're struggling with addictions, because as you say, it is very much about me, myself and I,
Yeah. To turn towards her and to ask her how she's dealing with and how she feels about the marriage and relationship now is to be faced with the shame that I felt for what had happened. And I didn't want to look at that. I'm looking at her and I see myself. I'm looking at her and I see shame. I see disappointment. I see a letdown. I see cause for hurt and pain. And it's only then by turning that around and shifting my attention and focus onto her that we've been able to grow and repair things again, which is still in reparation. It's still, it's a massive thing. But it's like anything else. I've often used this analogy where, the cow versus the buffalo. When it comes to a storm and the cow runs away from the storm and the storm keeps following the cow, so it never goes anywhere, whereas the buffalo actually faces the storm and runs into the eye of the storm, and eventually the storm passes and the buffalo is
really
free.
Good metaphor, actually.
So,
I've never heard that one.
It's that whole thing of if I keep running away from the struggles in the marriage and the struggles in the relationship, then it's just going to follow me and nothing gets solved. But it's ultimately turning towards the struggles that I felt about the relationship, about her, about what I had done.
And I guess also for her to figure out her own stuff as well within all of that, so there's the piece around doing the work yourself as two individuals and then doing the work as a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah,
massive, because there was this overhanging expectation on her from me to turn around and to really show how sorry I was for what happened and to really demonstrate the significance of the hurt that she felt I had caused in her as well. And to me, that felt like another heavy burden that I couldn't handle or face at the time. So as I said, I turned away from that. But in realizing all of this, as I've just mentioned, nothing is at rest and nothing has therefore changed. But what she was really asking of me, which was something I had to ask of myself as well, is, all right, how are you going to show up now? It's not that you have to verbally apologize. In my opinion, there's that, but I know words are
It's the
cheap.
action part. Yeah.
It's how are you showing your love and your care and your commitment to this relationship now? Forget, even to an extent, forget about what happened, because what happened as well happened because you were ignoring the difficulties and struggles in a relationship. Porn becomes another escapism.
Yeah.
Oh, she's a pain in the ass. She's this. Oh, there's no intimacy anymore, and the sex is dull or boring. And porn, excitement. Oh, sexing different girls, excitement.
Novelty.
Affairs, excitement.
Yeah.
But essentially, you're running away from yourself all the time.
Absolutely.
And
so what was it kind of like a process then, Gavin, in terms of, like, I know you mentioned there that you were doing therapy for a couple of years, but that you were still engaging in porn. So was it like a process in terms of weaning yourself off it, or what became kind of the key turning points to help yourself to get off those sites and to get out the chat rooms? And can you talk a little bit about that? Because again, it is an area that a huge amount of men are struggling with, a massive amount, and a lot of them are in the dark about it.
When it came to dissolving this addiction, from my understanding, there wasn't a clear intention behind it, or if there was a clear intention, it was also laced with an expectation, which had brought a sense of pressure and stress. For example, I would say, okay, no more porn now. I'd watch porn and have my bit of fun, excitement, ejaculate, and then say, okay, no more now. Okay, because the sense of shame and emptiness that comes after that is a real driver for not wanting to do it again. But then that diminishes. We all suffer with amnesia.
Yeah.
So then there'd be the expectation, but then there'd be the pressure, because the temptations will still arise and the want to do it will still arise. But then realizing that there's something at a greater depth within me that I'm not able to access here to understand what's truly driving this behavior and this want for the pleasures and the sense of love or connection that porn
filling a temporary need
brought.
Yeah.
So then we go deeper in conversation with therapists, and then we go deeper in conversations with ourselves, realizing that this is the scared, vulnerable, lonely, abandoned child in the past that's just crying out for help and crying out for someone to hold him and keep him safe and to give him a sense of love and attention. And I did find myself sometime later, again, when it came to the addiction, it was coming and going, and I'd go through maybe 2 months of nothing and then 2 months of all in every single day. So it was very volatile because my emotions and the whole process is very volatile, especially when you're ignoring situations in the relationship and you're not having conversations or honest conversations about what you feel is not being met in the relationship. Because for a lot of men, there's a sense of shame around their wants and needs, and a sense of shame around, meeting their level of
sexual novelty.
All of that. So there's so all of that was happening. And if hotel rooms was a massive trigger for me, because in a hotel room, you're alone, it's quiet, the door is locked, it's secret, it's private, nobody knows you're here, nobody knows what you're doing, and consciously it gives you an opportunity to just delve into this world. And that was huge for me. And I believe I intentionally, at least subconsciously, put myself in hotel rooms quite frequently to allow this to play out to the point where
fulfill that purpose.
To fulfill the purpose of the pleasure, but then also on a deeper level to fulfill the purpose of understanding why is this always coming up in hotel rooms for me. And again, it's that sense of abandonment that I felt as a child, and the lack of safety and comfort that I experienced in that time, and then using porn as that replacement for the caring, loving individual that I needed at that time. It becomes a replacement. Porn is a replacement, or it's a soother for something else that's going on within us. And that's what I realized one evening, just sitting there. And the way it usually happens is it's not intentional. I'm on a phone, I'm scrolling, and whatever, I might see a nice picture of a woman somewhere, or could be none of that. But there's a little itch that wants to be scratched, and it goes like, we'll just have a look. Just it's like
I'm not hurting anyone by looking.
It's like the alcoholic going to the pub and going, I'll go to the pub just for a look. And then, 2 hours later, he's drunk. So that's how it was for me. Go onto these porn sites, have a look, and then I go, and then the excitement and the arousal would arrive. And then it's an evening hooked on these sites. Until one evening I stopped and I asked, okay, hold on a second. What's going on here? Why am I going here again? And that was when I went back to a period when I was a young kid and feeling a sense of loneliness and abandonment, when it doesn't really matter now, but because I've worked through it and healed it, and where I upset my mum and they went off without me for the evening. Something that we usually would have done every Saturday evening was go to mass together and spend that bit of time together, and really feeling that connection with them and with the church and with people in it, with God perhaps.
Yeah.
And I did something that day that upset my mum, and the punishment was to be left out for the evening time, and my auntie was there to look after me. And it's my earliest childhood memory, me crying, bawling my eyes crying, my parents leaving, and my auntie there to soothe me.
Yeah.
And it brought me right back to that moment, and I realised, okay. So I didn't feel safe. I felt abandoned. I felt I'd done something wrong. I felt that I was a bad person. I caused this to happen. And my auntie was there as the soother, as the comfort. And she's not there anymore. So I had to replace her with something else. And as I'm talking about that too, I'm realizing something else too, is that we act out on our beliefs. So if I believe that back then I did something that caused my mum to become upset, and I blame that on myself, and with that blame comes a sense of shame around our personality or identity, but also comes the story that I'm a bad person.
Absolutely. And stories that you carry with you for a very long time until you address them.
Yeah. I'm not good. I'm capable of hurting others to this level of significance. So porn is also a way to confirm this belief about us, that this is the only type of love I deserve, because I'm not a good person. I'm not lovable. I'm not wanted. And acting out in porn, there's a part of us, and every man, I'm pretty sure, part of us that knows that this is not loving to ourselves. This is not an integral part of being a man. This is, there's something amiss, or there's something not right with watching porn on a frequent basis. But again, this taps into our belief that, yes, so what? I'm a prick anyway. Yeah. So this is all I deserve.
Yeah. So in terms of like obviously the emotion, obviously as a psychologist, I'm hugely interested in the emotional aspect and delving into all of that. But also from a behavioural perspective, Gavin, because there are, actual behaviours that people need to engage in if they're trying to wean themselves off an addiction. So what helped you, in those moments, in those really difficult moments where you felt, that kind of, that you were almost being propelled to those sites? What kind of stopped you and helped you? Was it that, like, practicing the pose, as you mentioned there, and kind of self-reflection? Or what else helped you in those moments?
No, there's many, many aspects to that answer, I would say. The pause, the reflection, the willingness to go deeper within instead of finding some surface level connection outside of ourselves was something quite significant.
Yeah.
And it's not that was the end of porn. that was an awareness to why the porn was happening. And that awareness became a seed that could sprout into something more, and understanding how this was also showing up in other areas of my life, that I was afraid to have deep conversations with my wife, that I was afraid to go all in the relationship, because if I did, I could potentially be abandoned, and I could potentially be left alone, and feel this sense of shame through my expressions again. So better not go all in, just in case. So if you're not going all in the relationship, then you're going to have those needs and those wants and those temptations and your desires met elsewhere.
Sure.
And porn becomes a safe place for that. So understanding this too. And it's also through a process where I was going quite deep with a therapist at the time. I was in therapy more or less on and off for over 10 years. And started off the counselor, then I was with a psychologist for a while. And with a psychologist, I was able to go deeper in terms of the childhood wounds and the mother wound, the father wound, and really get into the root of the problems. And then choosing to act from a place of love and purpose. And that's really where my work came into play, because the work was, yes, of course, there's a sense of validation, there's a sense of worthiness that we get, or sense of value at least, that we get from helping other people. But to listen to another man tell me that he hasn't drank any alcohol in the last 3 months, and before that he was drinking every single day, and to realize that I had a part to play in that is something that gives life meaning. It's okay, there's something I'm doing here that's helping other people, and that gives, like, at least gives me a sense of purpose to continue to show up and continue to share my story, continue to act from a place of purpose. And when this purpose is so visceral within,
you don't want to do anything to jeopardize that.
I don't want to waste my energy and time watching porn
and
or
it also,
drinking.
Just listening to you there, Gavin, it's kind of like, it sounds like you developed a new sense of identity, like throughout that process, discovered your purpose. And then in doing all of that it's not one thing in isolation. It's generally, I would say to people, it's generally lots of different things, and it's about finding the balance of what works for you personally in terms of being able to break those cycles, and break those patterns, and what helps you in the moment, whether it's deep breathing or whether it's, those, going for a run or doing whatever you need to do, but that you have tools in your back pocket that are going to help you, as well as like addressing all the emotional stuff, but actual tools that help you in difficult moments. Yeah,
that's, again, remembering those things that I had during that time as well. So I started doing CrossFit. And when you do a tough session of CrossFit, the last thing I'm going to be doing is going on that because you've no fucking energy for it. And then I was boxing for a while. I'm back boxing again.
Brilliant.
And even a few days ago, I was leaving I'm doing one-to-one boxing coaching with a pro at the moment. And even leaving that, I just realized, like, how I feel now, I want to maintain this feeling of feeling strong and resilient, and I've achieved something for myself today, and I don't want to.
You've achieved a lot.
And I don't. I don't want to squander this by then bring me back down to a lower energy frequency of energy. But the big thing in all of that, I believe, is helping others.
Yeah.
Because when we help others, we get out of our own head. And as I said to you earlier, a lot of those behaviors and actions are nothing more than a me attitude to life and to ego and what feels good to me. But how about you show up for someone else and understand the significance of your power and your presence and your love for someone else, and that in itself is going to create a deeper purpose in your life that potentially
100%.
At least veers you away from those pleasures that are quite destructive.
And it's a really important point, actually, Gavin, because I think when we shift our attention outward, as opposed to being so self-focused, it removes a myriad of things. It removes anxiety. It removes low mood. There's lots of different ways that we end up, like, by association, becoming better as a result of it, when we just make that simple shift outward as opposed to always being introspective. Like, it's good to be introspective, obviously.
Yes, true.
That's where you
kind of a balance
learn
about
exactly.
Yeah.
There's
something else I've realized as well, is that I'm sure you understand this as well, you're quite aware of it, is that the trauma is stored in our bodies and is stored in the cells in the bodies.
Body keeps the score. Yeah.
So by putting some breathing practices in place, or what I did, I went to the extreme of going to 2 psilocybin retreats, so mushroom retreats.
Yeah.
And that completely awakens the trauma that's in the body, and through that, processing a lot of shame and a lot of guilt and a lot of fears that were associated with the past. And I really went all in on those experiences, which was a massive shift in my life.
In your consciousness, yeah.
So when we diffuse that energy that's associated with an experience in the past, then it no longer becomes triggered.
Power,
And now it's a matter of course, I could still go onto a website and watch porn, but the same energy is not there anymore.
Yeah.
I probably could go onto a porn site now and watch few videos, and I go, nah. Because I've diffused that energy that was ignited through feeling unsafe or lonely or abandoned as a child. So this is the deeper work that is so important to help change your beliefs and your perspectives of how you're living your life.
Exactly. You mentioned there, Gavin, about doing CrossFit, and you are a former European powerlifter.
Oh, yeah. Lifted a bit of weight, yeah.
How important do you think, because I suppose I believe that the body and mind work in tandem, and that it's really important that we give both equal attention in terms of, like, healthy mindset, healthy body, and the other way around as well. What's your experience of that, and how much do you kind of focus on that when you're working with clients?
It gives us a sense of strength and capability. When you're training, when you're working out, you're going in there and you're taking on resistance, and you're possibly and hopefully, progressing in what you did the previous week, or at least the previous month. And you leave the gym or you leave the training session with a sense of capability. And that sense of capability breeds a sense of confidence and strength that you take with you outside of the gym doors, that then can be transferred into perhaps the deeper healing, the emotional stuff. That's, a different type of resistance, a different type of struggle.
Exactly.
But can often bring up the similar apprehensions or fears or anxieties as to when you're going to squat 150 kg in a bar, or when I'm about to pull up 260 kg on a deadlift and feeling this, I could get injured, I could mess this up, I could look like a dick if I don't do it. And often in a competition realm, you've got eyes on you, and you pull, again, for me, I won numerous competitions. I'm going, it's not the weight, it's the feelings of overcoming that challenge that again, as I said, bred this level of confidence and strength where I could say, okay, where can I use this now? Where can I channel this now? And I knew, of course, that there was deeper work to be done. But now I had found a new sense of confidence and resilience that I said, okay, let's go. Let's do it. Let's dive in. And I believe I always had that to a certain extent, because as a kid, I was big into dramas and acting. So I was always putting myself out
Performing.
there as the star of the show.
Sure.
And it's something, again, I've written about in the book, in terms of acting became an escapism for me. I didn't have to be myself. I could be someone else, because I didn't like myself very much. And then we take acting from the stage and we act it out in real life. So I was acting out as somebody that I believed would be accepted and wanted and loved by others. Because the true self was not being accepted by the kids in the playground. And I felt a sense of shame around this true version of me, which, of course, these parts get pushed into the shadows and we suppress them, only for it to be expressed in destructive ways in our life later on, such as alcohol or porn, as it was for me. So yes, the training, the exercise, of course, there's the feel-good hormones that brings to, that gives us a sense of drive and energy for life.
Serotonin, dopamine.
All of that.
Yeah.
So when you step out of the gym doors, you're stepping into life, and you have no idea what life's going to bring to you that day.
Yeah.
There's going to be challenges, going to be struggles, but at least you have energy now to transfer into it, along with perhaps the confidence of knowing that I've overcome something difficult in this gym today. I can overcome something difficult outside of this gym today. And it's usually happening on a subconscious level, but it's there.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, 90% of our behaviors come from our subconscious anyway.
100%. 100%. Gavin, you mentioned there about childhood bullying, and I spotted on your stories last week, again, that can kind of raise its ugly head even in our adult lives, the whole area of online bullying in particular. And you had shared like kind of snapshots of some pretty awful comments. And I suppose what struck me was, well, obviously the awfulness of the comments to begin with, but how you responded, and how you responded in a way that wasn't reactive. You weren't kind of meeting the bully at their level. You were meeting them in a very kind of an evolved way. Has that come through your therapeutic work, or I know you've quite a strong spiritual connection as well. Again, what has helped you in terms of with dealing with the bullies, dealing with people maybe who, you know, think, oh, this men's mental health is a load of rubbish, and, you know, shove it where the sun don't shine kind of attitude?
Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of them, and that's okay. Because whenever we show up as our true, authentic selves, we show up with a level of light that can often shine on other people's darknesses.
Shadows, yeah.
That they want to hide, that they don't want to see, that they don't want to feel. And therefore they feel provoked by your presence, by your words, by your energy. And because they don't want to reflect on themselves and identify what's coming up for them through my words or behaviors or actions or presence, it's easy for them to project it outwards, just to feel good about themselves, especially if you succumb to their words and their behaviors.
Meet them at their level, yeah.
And, you know, they get this kick, you know, this dopamine high of pissing someone off, or of at least feeling as though they've gained a sense of power over someone else that helps them feel a bit more powerful. So I've come to understand that, and I've come to understand that because I was the projector. I was the one that was looking at others who were perhaps successful and happy and loving relationships, and turn around to them, not vocally, but in my own mind going, who the fuck do they think they are? You know, I'm sure they've got big problems and just not showing it. And then realizing, hang on a second, it's me who has the big problems, who's not showing it. Yeah. It's me that feels provoked by simply someone else demonstrating a sense of love or happiness or joy in their life.
Expressing their truth.
Expressing their truth, or again, expressing something that I believe I don't have or can't be found within.
Or maybe that you're jealous of, you know.
All of that too.
Yeah.
So what I've come to understand is it's never about me, it's about them. Exactly. And when I understand this, then if it's about them, and if what's coming through their keyboard or coming through their mouth or coming through their behaviors is an act of anger or bitterness or jealousy or envy, then I also understand that beneath those reactions of anger, jealousy, rage, there's fear and there's pain that they're unaware at the time. Yeah. So I'm going to love them.
Yeah.
I'm going to love them no matter what, because this is the very thing that they feel neglected of, and they feel that they can't access within. And someone showing up and speaking their truth and being authentic and, you know, showing a sense of love within themselves that's being portrayed out into the world, is provoking a sense of lack within them, I say, it's okay. I hear where you're at. I hope that this pisses you off, because
Triggers
if it pisses you off, then at least it can bring something up for you to potentially look at and address. And if it doesn't happen this time, I hope it happens to you at some point. But I'll have to let that go, because it's also not my journey.
Exactly.
It's not my role to fix or address or to appease anyone else. And it's very important to know as well that we're not here to call on everyone to make a change. Some people just are not ready. Leave them be. They may need to suffer a bit more. They may need to fail a bit more. They may need more heartbreaks, and possibly at some stage wake up to the reality that they are creating this in their own life through something that has been created within them, a story, through an experience or projections of other people's fears and insecurities in the past that became their identity. And I know this because that was my path. I've walked it. I've been the projector. I've been this pained, traumatized individual who felt as though the world was just full of malevolence and evil, and success and happiness and love and joy is just for others, not for me. And feeling this victimhood mentality, and therefore feeling powerless in my life. And to gain a sense of power, well, let's tell this person he's a dickhead, and I'll feel good about myself because I'll piss him off, and I'll feel like, yeah, I got you. I got you. So we've a choice to be bullied. Like bullying is a choice that we make.
Yeah, absolutely.
I could have taken those comments.
Focus to.
Could have taken those comments and felt, oh, they don't like me. I'm
become
being
the victim
bullied again.
Yeah.
Instead of rising above it and seeing it for what it truly is.
Yeah. Takes a lot of growth, self-growth for people to get to that stage, because I think, the initial response for people who haven't maybe done any kind of therapeutic work is, oh gosh, why am I being projected onto? Why is this happening to me? Why is, whereas, as you said, Gavin, if you can turn your focus of attention onto, well, they're on their own path, they're on their own journey, and I just kind of need to keep powering through and focusing on what's important to me.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I've had a number of experiences in my life, blessings perhaps in my life, where I was exposed, I was completely exposed, and was open to some very harsh judgments from others.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're aware of the car accident that I was in when I was 18, and there was a lady that died in that car accident. And in my local community, a lady that I knew quite well, lovely woman, brilliant family. And again,
and you were driving the car?
I was driving the car with three of my friends, and she died in the scene. She had her son in the back, and he was, thankfully, he's alive and well. So what that comes a lot of judgment from others, because a life's been taken here. A life's been taken through my actions.
Yeah.
A life's been taken through how I drove that car and veered over to the other side of the road because I was going too fast, and feeling that sense of judgment and shame and anger from others is really a difficult place to be, but even more difficult when I believe all those things to be true about myself. So, you hate me? Good. Yeah, you hate me. That's brilliant, because that confirms
how I feel about myself.
Who I am. Yeah. And I had several experiences of people who actually approached me from her family and said, Gavin, we understand it was an accident. We understand that you didn't go out there to hurt anyone. Any of us could have done the same thing and drove our car and made a mistake.
Yeah.
And we don't blame you for this. And those words were empty to me because they didn't fill this sense of a belief that I held about myself, about being a hateful, bad person that took someone else's life. it would have been much more satisfactory for me if they turned around and said, yeah, we blame you, Gavin, and we all hate you, and we hope that, you carry this burden of shame with you for the rest of your life. And I would say, thank you.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was thinking about myself and believing about myself. And you've just confirmed these beliefs for me. And it's often what we want as individuals is just someone to confirm who we believe we are. And then someone comes into your life and shows you a level of love or gratitude or gives you a sense that you're a valuable human being. And consciously, it feels nice, but subconsciously, you
Very
go,
hard to take it on.
No. I don't deserve this. Get away from me. I don't want this. And we subconsciously sabotage it by going back to our default familiar
patterns.
Territory of drinking or porn or loneliness or feeling a sense of shame. I have this all the time with the men that I work with. Things start going well and they become more successful and they start potentially moving into a healthy relationship, or the relationship that they're in becomes a lot more loving and open. And then all of a sudden I'm on a call with them on Monday and say, I was on a 3-day coke binge at the weekend. I said, okay, interesting. Interesting. Do you understand why that happened? And I talked to him about the need to go back to where they feel safe because they moved towards somewhere that wasn't known to them and felt so unfamiliar. And because it was unfamiliar, they felt terrified there. And again, consciously, it's amazing. It's beautiful. But subconsciously, what the fuck are you doing here? Get back to the safe place. Or at least it may trigger a memory in the past where you had this sense of love or value, but it was taken away from you. And you experience a lot of hurt and pain from that. So you don't want to risk it again. So better me take control of this and mess this up myself instead of someone else doing it for me. So this is the push and pull that I talk about when we're on this journey of improvement or healing and everything else. And if you fall down, it's okay. This is part of the process.
Exactly.
It's often called a setback or a fuck up of some sort. But it's not. It's just part of the process. This had to happen in order for you to move forward.
Which leads me nicely, Gavin, to chat about your modern warrior weekend retreats, which again are for all men, exclusively for men. Can you chat a little bit about those?
Yeah, like most things in my life, sort of stumble into those accidentally. And it was just an idea that I had maybe a few years ago where there was a group of men that I work with one-to-one. And I thought, it'd be nice to bring these men together as a group and do something together. And I did that. And I think I had maybe 6 or 7 men with me in Sligo for one day. We just climbed a mountain. We had a meal and conversation. Nothing to what it's like now. And I was like, okay, there's something here. Like these men are talking, they're connecting. Well, let me take it a step further next time. So the next time then I booked accommodation in Westport, and there was myself and 5 other men. And again, they're all working with me one-to-one, but we bring them together because I'm working with these men one-to-one, that I know that they would really connect well with each other because they're all looking to improve. It's not that I'm pulling someone off the street and say, hey, come on this weekend. And no, I don't want that. I'm not ready for that. So it sort of became a thing on and off for probably a year to 18 months where I would take those, because what most people don't know is that these weekends started 3 years ago. And it's only now this year, because I'm creating more content around it and because there's a bit more structure around it, that people are starting to notice it. But this has been a working process for 3 years where I'm taking these men on weekends and then trying to identify, okay, this works well, but this doesn't work so well, or
just tweaking
there's something more I can add in here. But for me to add that in, I actually need to go somewhere to learn how to do this, like the breath work, for example. And I did the breath work course with a good man called James McCauley, who's on my most recent episode of my own podcast is with him. Brilliant conversation, brilliant guy. And he had a breathwork course in Dublin at the start of the year. I said, like, that's my calling. And I require that tool to help these men open up on a deeper level. And that's been a game changer since I brought that in. So now the weekends have a bit more structure, and I'm still looking and tweaking and changing and bringing in different rituals. And ultimately, that whole weekend is about deepening the connection with themselves.
Yeah.
But then feeling this incredible inspiration through connecting with other men who are on a very similar mission as them. And some men are still stuck in their shit, stuck in their struggle, trying to find a way out. Some men have actually got through that and are the other side.
Yeah.
So you take inspiration and you talk to these men and they'll tell you about their story and you take something from it. Or there's other men then that are maybe a little bit further behind than you, or there's other men who are pretty much in the same place.
Yeah.
So it's very well balanced generally in that sense. But there's always incredible shifts that happen at the weekend. And if I took everything else out and simply kept it to sharing your struggles with other men, like that would be enough. Because again, it's about creating that safe space where men just start simply opening up about their difficulties in a relationship, or their problems with porn, or their addiction to alcohol, or just feeling lost or bewildered or confused about what it is that they're supposed to do with their life, or feeling as though they're stuck in a dead-end job and this is not where they want to be, at least.
Yeah.
And being paid such a substantial amount of money, but the last thing I want to do is show up that job on a Monday morning again.
Yeah.
What I really want to be doing is having a farm and living a simpler life.
Yeah.
So you're hearing all these different conversations, because where that man is living like as a CEO in a business and making big money, and another man is trying to aspire to that, and he's giving him a reality check and saying, you know what?
Yeah.
It's not all that it seems to be.
Yeah.
So there's those conversations in itself is incredibly powerful, but then bringing in other aspects like the sea and the sauna and taking on a hike, a physical challenge. We're also being challenged emotionally as well, because you're having to follow other men or lead other men, because I purposely have a leader, and I purposely put people in a place where they're going to be somewhat uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And the breath work then is an absolute game changer as well, to access those underlying emotions that they've been have been locked away.
How difficult? I mean, obviously, the first step is always that somebody is ready to kind of take that step and to kind of step into their own personal power and to go on that kind of self-growth journey. But in general, Gavin, it is very difficult. I think I was thinking about this actually last night when I was preparing for this, and maybe like 3 or 4 years ago, there seemed to be kind of a big focus on men's mental health, which seems to have kind of died off for some reason. I don't know why. But for men who find it very difficult to kind of drop the mask, who are kind of in that persistent mode of, I don't even want to use the term toxic masculinity because I think it gets overused, but like that they feel that they have to present a certain image in order to step into their masculine. What helps men, in your experience, to access that vulnerable part and to kind of drop the mask?
If you don't drop the mask will be dropped for you, and it will usually drop after some cracks appear and it eventually falls away, and you're exposed to the underlying pain that has presented itself in your life and possibly created some damage or certainly heartbreak, or, as I spoke about my own journey, an exposure of that pain and that shame. However, the big test for every one of us is being with ourselves. And I purposely put myself in a place almost every day now where I'm with myself in silence, no distraction. I love doing it in nature when I got an opportunity to do so. Just sit there. Do nothing. And when you do nothing, everything that you need will come to you. And at the beginning,
juices.
There's the creative juices, but there's all the noise before that, in the sense of the fears, shit, I need to go somewhere, I need to do, well, take a breath, just sit with this for another minute. And you go, okay, I'll sit. Okay, is that it now? Can I go? Wait, just give it another minute. And again, this can be built up over time, but putting yourself in a place where you feel safe. Don't put yourself in a place where you feel you're going to be surrounded by strangers or surrounded by people who are going to notice you there and
judge you.
You feel like a weirdo.
Yeah.
Go to a place where it's quiet. It could be your sitting room in your house. Just sit there. Close your eyes for a few minutes and acknowledge what's coming up for you. And something that was a massive tool that helped me to uncover the underlying pains and insecurities and shame that was presenting itself in my life was, yes, putting myself in that place. But then instead of trying to sit there and grind it out, I would write it out. So I would start writing about what was coming up for me.
Yeah.
And some days it's just going to be a load of, what the heck is this? I can't make any sense of this. Yeah. It's okay. I mean, let's just get through all the sensitive stuff or get through all these thoughts so you can get down to the deeper stuff. Keep showing up, keep writing, keep doing it.
Yeah.
And eventually something will come up. And I found myself several times having written something down and then sitting back and going, shit, that's what it is.
Yeah.
But that came with practice. That doesn't come from your first journal entry. It could.
Yeah.
But it's that opportunity to be really honest with yourself. And the journal works really well because it's a way to have this private, somewhat secret conversation with yourself that nobody else needs to hear. Nobody else needs to see. You're writing it down and it's a conversation between you and you because it's your thoughts, it's your feelings, and you write it down on paper and you sit back and you can question it to the extent of, wow, is this actually where I'm at? Is this actually what's happening in my life? And that may offer an inspiration or at least some sort of, may give you some initiative to then go, oh, there's stuff here I need to work on. There's stuff here I need to speak to someone about. There's stuff here I need to overcome. Or at least just show up the next morning, do the 100%. Same thing, do the same thing. And it's processing, because we want to wait until we have all the information before we make a move. But if that's the case, where do you draw the line? There's never going to be enough information. You could go on and on for the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years of your life. Information, podcasts, books, whatever, listening to YouTube channels, whatever else. Information bombardment, and you already have everything that you need. And it's a big lesson that I took from the mushroom retreat that I was on, because I was on 2 retreats. Two of them were completely different. The first one, I was in the garden and I was going through all these processes that were related to my mission and the purpose and understanding why I'm doing what I'm doing. But the second one was me lying in one spot for 5 hours and receiving the message of, you're not going anywhere today. You're going to be with yourself. Stop running away from yourself into the gym, into the sauna, into the sea, into work, into anything else. You're going to be with yourself. And within all that, realizing that all the answers we need are already here with us. Most of us are terrified to receive the answer because the answer means an awakening or an awareness of something,
and change of behavior, possibly
that requires action. But even that in itself, even sitting with that is enough action in itself in order to possibly allow something new to unfold into your life. And just lean into it. But
and I think that was a very worthwhile mention as well, Gavin, for people we say who aren't even accessing therapists, that journaling is like, we call it free association in psychology, where you just write without putting any judgment, without you just literally, it's just words on a page, whatever just comes out, just let it flow and don't put any, judgment on yourself or on your writing or whatever comes out, the content.
There's it's something I've advocated a lot for the men that I work with, and they'll say, but I sat down, but I didn't know what to write. Well, that's what you write down. I don't know what to write today. Oh, why do I not know what to write today? And then all of a sudden you could have 4 pages just based on that.
Absolutely.
And because that's a sense of judgment too, in terms of, I can't do it. It's like, okay, I can't do this. Why can't I do this? You know,
Yeah.
it's just all you're doing is you're regurgitating your thoughts onto paper. That's it. There's nothing more complicated than that. And if you don't like what you wrote down, you can always burn it. And the fear as well is, oh, I don't want anyone to see this. That's fine. Well, hide it in a really secret place, or just tear the page out and put it in the bin, or flush down the toilet, or burn it up.
Yeah.
It's fine. You don't have to hold on to it.
Yeah.
Which is a letting go process in itself. So
100%. Yeah. Gavin, you've spoken about as well quite a bit on your social media around your connection and your spiritual practice, I guess. And something that really touched my heart actually on your stories during the week, which, if you don't mind sharing it with the listeners, was about the homeless man, which I thought was lovely.
Yes, the homeless man. Yeah. The experience of finding €50 on a hotel floor, and then the idea, at least.
Interesting that it was a hotel floor as well with your past.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. There's no coincidences. That's what I've realized as well. There's no coincidences.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, well, first of all, you know, finding that money, and we all have those moments where, you know, we go, oh, that's lucky. That's good luck. It's like, that's perhaps a message to help you understand the abundance that's in this world, that's in your life. And a big difficulty for me that I haven't spoke about has been money, and feeling this unconscious belief that I don't deserve to have a lot of money. And money has often been a massive struggle in my life. If I have it, it's gone within a matter of weeks, and I don't even know where it's gone. It just disappears. But again, the subconscious belief that I don't deserve it, or money's not for me, or being rich or wealthy is not for me, for somebody else, and a sense of shame around all that too, that we've most of us have been brought up with in this very Catholic country. So all of that, but then, you know, finding these little pieces along the way to show you, hey, the universe is very abundant. There's money everywhere. There's opportunity everywhere. There's love everywhere. If you simply have the courage to change the lens in which you see yourself through the world. So, yeah, I found this €50 note on the floor randomly in Dublin, and I immediately said to myself, okay, this is not for me. This is going to be given to someone else who needs it more than I do. And went for dinner that night with a few friends, and we're standing outside the restaurant in the heart of Dublin. And this homeless guy is approaching us, and he's speaking to the other three men, maybe because they're checking their pockets, or he can sense that maybe they're going to give some money to him. He's not really looking at me, but I'm looking at him. And then I thought, yeah, this is the guy. This is the man. And I went down. I said, actually, what I didn't mention is I said, "You're loved." And I put the €50 note into his little box. And I just walked away, but I was watching him, and he didn't realize what I put into it at the start. And then he has a little look into his little box, and then he realized it's €50 here, and he's looking up to me as if I've just given him €1 million, you know. And he goes, amazing, man, you're amazing. You're going to heaven, brother. And I was like, yeah, that's okay. Take it. And it's not the €50, but it's a token of love, and it's a token that he too deserves to be shown love
and respect.
Yeah. And a big thing in my life is I don't differentiate between the highly successful celebrity or entrepreneur versus the beggar on the street. I believe we're all connected. We're all here to support and help each other, but we've been indoctrinated into a system where competition is the norm, and I've got to be better than you, and you got a 2024 car. I'm going to get a 2025 car. And, you know, this whole system has been rigged to keep us in competition with each other, because if we keep in competition, then we're going to keep buying and keep feeding into this capitalistic culture. Anyway, what I've come to understand massively is like giving is so much more rewarding than taking.
100%. And what we give out, we get back 100%.
Yeah, but then, that's the difficulty, because, are you giving it because you want to get something back?
No,
You know
I
what I
don't
mean?
mean it in that
I know,
context,
I know you don't mean it in that sense, but someone else could pick it up in a
Yeah.
different way, in the sense, I'll give this guy €50, and if I give that guy €50, I'm going to get, €500
Yeah,
back.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I know you don't mean
Yeah.
it that way, but some people will pick that
Yeah.
up the wrong way.
I meant more on an energetic level, that
That's-
if you project, ill will to others, that's exactly what you're going to get in return. Whereas
Karma's real.
in that instant that you just described, that was like a really beautiful, generous act of kindness and recognition of another human being.
Yeah. I actually had a moment this morning where I had this feeling of when I come into more of an abundance of money. I was actually visualizing this and actually going into this place and giving the money away. As when I come into more of an abundance of money, I'm going to take that money as another opportunity to give it away, because it's almost like an asking of God or the universe. If you give me the money, I will use this to help humanity,
greater good.
versus give me the money so I can be happier in life, or I can buy this, or I can buy that. It's like, nah. You're not going to get the money, because those intentions are not true. They're not integral. They're not loving.
Yeah.
So I just had that moment this morning. Actually, it was just whilst I was meditating.
Yeah.
And visualizing myself actually going into the hospital in Sligo and saying, okay, I've got a lump of money here. If I give you this money, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to spend this money on your Christmas party, or are you actually use this money to help these children or help this unit? So, I just thought I'd share that. That's just something that came up for me today. Yes, but it's
it was really
we all
touched me.
all have we all want to give, I believe, but we're terrified of what we lose.
And we can get sidetracked, as you said earlier. Like, it's so easy to get sidetracked, with different things. But I think it's a lovely point of inspiration, because unfortunately, I could sit here for another 3 hours talking to you, Gavin.
I know.
So much.
It's been brilliant. Thank you.
Your book is, one of your books, I should say, is Stronger Mind, Stronger Body, Stronger Life. You're in the process of writing another one at the moment.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if you've set yourself a date for publication on that one, Gavin, have you?
No, well, I wrote it last year, but as I mentioned before we started recording, so much has changed in the last year that I have to go back and almost rewrite every chapter.
Yeah. And you also have The Art of Self-Acceptance.
That's right.
That's your other book.
Yeah.
Where can people find you, Gavin?
They can come to my home in Sligo and knock on the door, and I'll happily answer. It's do you want my address? Gain access to me or to find me or send me a message would be Gavin Meenan on all platforms. So you can add the link in there or whatever else. Or if there's something in this that related to you, or you wanted to maybe explore again on a deeper level, then just shoot me a message. Yeah. So, but thank you so much for this space, and
thank you
for
so
your
much,
brilliant
Gavin.
energy here.
It's an absolute pleasure. Really lovely to have you on, and I know that there's lots of men out there who are going to get so much from this episode. As I said, could have chatted to you for another 2 hours, but unfortunately Gary here in GK Media would have my life if I did.
It's all good.
So anyway, great to have you, Gavin, and thanks again. Cheers.
Till next time.